Hi everyone, today we're focusing on the Western Central region of Europe. Our objectives are going to be similar to most of the objectives in our physical geography lessons. We're going to be using maps and globes to analyze and interpret the geography of Western Central Europe. We'll also locate the major countries, landforms, and water systems, and describe the physical geography. There is a good bit of vocabulary for this lesson. We'll go through them one by one. The first is cyclone. A cyclone is a severe windstorm characterized by spiraling winds, sometimes also called tornadoes. Deciduous is the next term. Deciduous are trees that lose their leaves in the fall. We see a lot of deciduous trees up in the northern parts of Georgia. Third on the list is dike. A dike is another word for a dam where water is being held back from another location. Fourth is loess. Loess is fine-grained, fertile soil. Next is mistral. A mistral is a strong, dry, cold north or northwestern wind that blows in France. And last we have polder. Polder is the land between sea level from which water has been removed and is protected by dikes, also known as dams. There are quite a few countries in Central Western Europe. They are United Kingdom, Ireland, France, Belgium, the Netherlands, Luxembourg, Germany, Austria, Liechtenstein, which is right here, Switzerland, and then Monaco. This is a reminder that's true for most places in the world. The physical geography of Western Central Europe affects the lives of people. Most of the nations in the region have access to the ocean or the sea. This access is important for military purposes. For example, Great Britain had the world's most powerful navy from the 18th to mid-20th century. The region's oceans, lakes, and rivers are also important for both trade and transportation. The landforms of this area greatly affect where people live, how they earn a living, and the climate of the region. The landforms of the Western Central region include the Alpine mountain system, the Northwestern Highlands, the North European Plain, and the Central Uplands. The Alps are the highest mountains of the Alpine mountain system, which passes through the countries of France, Switzerland, Liechtenstein, Germany, Italy, Austria, and into the Balkans. The Northwestern Highlands extend from northern Europe all the way to the Iberian Peninsula. The mountains here are old formations. Their landscape has been eroded by precipitation and wind throughout the years. As a result, the soil here is not fertile enough for farming. However, the North European Plain is very fertile farmland. These plains cover a vast area of Europe, ranging from France and into Russia. South of the North European plains are the Central Uplands. The plateaus and mountains of the Central Uplands have rocky soil, which, like the Northwestern Highlands, is not good for farming. It's important to note that most of the countries in Europe have access to the ocean or the sea. There are only a few landlocked countries. The major rivers in Western Central Europe include the Danube, which is located right here, the Rhone, the Loire, the Seine, the Rhine, and the Elbe. Two rivers that we want to pay particular attention to are the Danube and the Rhine River. The Danube is Europe's second longest river. It's measuring in at 1,770 miles long. It passes through 9 countries, and it's the only river in Europe that flows west to east. The Rhine River is important because you will see this again. The Rhine River originates in the Alps, formed by melting glaciers. It flows northwest into the North Sea. It is the most trafficked river in the world. It is the most trafficked river in the world. The reason for that is because it's navigable and free to the 6 countries it passes through. Also, any country can use the Rhine as a water route for trade goods, so it's very popular with commercial trade routes. Next, we're going to talk about the climate of Western Central Europe. What type of climate does Western Central Europe have? If you look at the map, Western Central Europe is right in this area. So we're looking at these greens as well as some of the orange right in here. Okay, if you look at the corresponding legend, those colors are going to be associated with a moderate climate. So the climate of Western Central Europe is moderate. A moderate climate zone means that Central Western Europe has cool winters and mild summers with ample precipitation, so rain is not an issue in this area with respect to agriculture and farming. We're going to talk once again about the North Atlantic Current. The North Atlantic Current warms the coastal areas of the Western Central region and brings precipitation to the region year-round. This helps to provide the favorable climate of the region. The mountains of this region also affect its climate. As the winds rise up the western side of the Alpine mountain system, the air cools, causing precipitation to fall on countries west of the mountains. Parts of Great Britain, France, and Germany receive more precipitation than countries on the leeward or eastern side of the mountains. So we have the Alpine mountain range, and anything west of it is going to receive more precipitation than the countries to the east of the Alpine mountain range. We're going to talk for a little bit about the ecosystems of this Western Central region of Europe. For the most part, there are 2 major biomes for this area. You have forests and grasslands. Forests being that green color, and then the grasslands being this yellow as well. Remember that there are mountains, so that there is going to be some purple, but the 2 main biomes you're going to see are the forests and the grasslands. Forests are the main biome of the region, although many of the forested land covering Western Central Europe has been cleared to make room for cities, farms, and industry. Deciduous forests still grow over much of the landscape. Remember, deciduous are those trees that lose their leaves in the fall. Grasslands once covered most of the North European plain of Central Europe. Like forests, these grasslands have been cleared to make room for human development. Some natural resources of Western Central Europe include fertile soil, which we'll talk about in the next slide, water, natural gas, oil, coal, and iron ore. Speaking of that fertile soil, much of the fertile soil that we have is in thanks to something called loess. Loess is a rich, fertile soil that covers much of the Western Central European region, specifically this Northern European plain. Loess in this region was created by glaciers, and it's fertile because of its intense mineral properties. As a result, again, the Northern European plain is a productive agricultural area. Loess is one of the region's most valuable resources. The natural disasters or natural hazards that you have in the western central region of Europe include flooding and cyclones. Flooding is a major concern in the western central European region. Areas along the coast, near rivers, and in the lowlands, such as the Netherlands, are especially vulnerable. Cyclones, accompanied by heavy rainfall and flooding, are frequent visitors to Great Britain. Heavy rainfall causes Europe's rivers to overflow their banks, flooding surrounding areas and causing serious damage. To sum up what we learned today about the western central region of Europe, its countries are the United Kingdom, France, Belgium, Netherlands, Luxembourg, Germany, Austria, Liechtenstein, Switzerland, and Monaco. Make sure you can locate these countries on the map. Its major landforms include the Alpine mountain system, the Northwestern Highlands, the North European Plain, and the Central Uplands. Its major rivers are the Danube, the Rhone, the Loire, the Seine, the Rhine, and the Elbe. Most of the European nations have coastlines. Most of the region is in the moderate climate zone and has cool winters and mild summers with ample precipitation. Its major biomes are forests and grasslands. Its natural resources include fertile soil, remember loess, water, natural gas, oil, coal, and iron ore. Natural disasters that pose the biggest threat are the threat of flooding. I want you guys to know that I'm going to go over every country in a separate recording, but this is giving you the overarching ideas of the Western Central European region.